I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? Baby, you're more than welcome. Come out here on the dance floor. Come show me what you working with. Show me how low can you go. Now you won't need to bag it up. Baby, are you serious? Tell me, can you handle it? Oh, baby, I'm curious. If I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? If I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? Now come on, tell me. Oh yeah, I like it. I think you got something there, baby. Come on, get a little closer. Yeah, just like that. If I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? If I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? If I bag it up, what you gonna do? What you gonna put it on you, baby? Put it on you. If I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? If I bag it up, what you gonna do? If I put it on you, baby, what you gonna do? If I bag it up,
Can I ask y'all something?
what
Have you ever had a girl cut your boy and put it on you so good that you couldn't say nothing? What a man, what a man. This is so nice. I hope you don't mind. Just from the come on, we get down on me. See, oh, so horny. And I know this man is digging on me. He's digging on me. Shame to my knees. I say, ooh, baby, please. Ooh, that man is so sexy. I love a truck, driving, trail, riding, long, smoking. Good on country boy. He put it down, he's the best. He's better than the rest. Country boy. Hey, you got one on me. Say I'm dying. I'm dying. But the man to the flow, he knows how to go. He's such a mama's boy, a mama's boy. Oh, just the mama's boy. It's how you go. Come on, we get down on the knees, so hard. This man is digging on me. He's hanging on me. Shake to my knees. I say, ooh, baby, please. That is so sexy. I love a truck, driving, trail, riding, long, smoking, good old country boy. He put it down, he's the best, he's better than the rest. Country boy. Let me hear you say, everything, everything, everything. Let me hear you say, My country, let me tell you something. Now I love you, well, right. Don't show no something. Yeah, he's and she knows get down on it, so hard. I know this man is taking on me. You know, he shake to my knees. I say, oh, baby, please. Country boy is all I need. I never truck, riding, travel, riding, no smoking. He put it down, he took the lesson.
What? They have the substitute. They have the they substitute. They Walmart business. you. Tonight, number one. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have some fun. Oh, we're gonna dance to the morning come. Oh, spit on the black rails. It looks so good. I wanna see you moving right. Get back to the left. Along, see the hips vibrate. Oh, I wanna see this swinging to the right. Then back to the left. Oh, honey, see the hips vibrate to the right. Then make it promises that I really keep. Tonight it's just me, baby. Oh, no one can ever take your place. I like the way you feel. Oh, when we dance, oh, honey. So let's get dressed, go out to my favorite place. Oh, the one I let you know. To always get on the right day, baby. I wanna see you do that dance. Hey, to the left. Yes, oh, let me see the sweet baby light. Oh, yes, yes, I bring it to the low. Sweet to the oh, sweet to the left. Just swing it, yes, I bring it to the low. Swing it to the right, then back to the left. Let me see the hips I bring it to the low. We got sweet. I've been dreaming my living life, gone from her ever since we kissed. See, I'm known as Mr. Candyman. This here got a twist. You must be the one, yeah. Cause I like about 100 of the Instagram pics. I got that sweet tea for you, baby. Oh, we coming. Cause I know you taste like candy. I know you taste like candy. Girl, I got that sweet tea for you, baby. Oh, we coming. Cause I know you taste like candy. I know you taste like candy. Oh, baby, 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 baby. What you think, baby? Don't let me get you.
you want to. You might as well let the man, yeah, you got a piece. How many licks does it take to get you there? Well, let's just say, oh, I got that sweet tea for you, baby. Oh, it coming, girl, it coming. 'Cause I know you taste like candy. 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 Girl, I got that sweet tea for you, baby. Oh, it coming. I know you coming. 'Cause I know you taste like candy. Oh, you taste like candy. I know you taste like candy. I know you taste like candy. Say, I feel like, yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna hold you and squeeze me tight. I'm gonna make love, doing it all night. I feel like yeah. Oh, honey, I got that sweet tea for you, baby. Oh, we coming, cause I know you taste like candy. 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 Girl, I got that sweet tea for you, baby. Oh, we coming, girl, we coming, cause I know you taste like she was looking for a real thing. And I said, Miss Lady, she ain't got no voice. She got the man. So not gonna give it to her. The best thing. She got no kids. She got the man. So not gonna give it to her. The best thing. She just needs someone to treat her right. Bring a man all the time. I got something to tell you. And I'm just down to my side. Come on, everybody in here. Your body, if you're feeling me. She said, I really like your style. That let me know that I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm no boy. You want to make it. So I'm gonna give it to you. The best you can see. You want to get it. You want to make it. So I'm gonna give it to you. The best you can see. I've never been happy. To treat a woman like me. Now I know she was so wrong for me. Just like a schoolboy string. Just a good to think of my love. It's gonna bring you part of the soul. Now I don't know what to tell you. It feels good when I wanna hold you. Just want no more. You got the man. So I'm gonna give it to her. The best you can. You got the man. You got the man. So I'm gonna give it to her. The best you can.
Sitting at home, thinking about you, baby. The way you put it on me, it took me higher. The way you move that body, the way you work that thing, you know it ought to be higher shame. You got my nose wide open, thinking of the daily night. You got that fire, girl. You fight your birth so bright. She moves it to the left, y'all, and back to the right. Right down the middle, she works it all night. Yeah. Oh, yes, you do. You know you got it, baby. Oh, yes, you do. When you go away, when you go love, the way you put it on me, you know I'm thinking of the way you move that body, the way you work that thing. You know it ought to be higher shame. Oh, we, baby, what you done to me, you know so good. Oh, what a big goodbye, that's me. She moved to the left, y'all, and back to the right. Straight down the middle.
I'm gonna start.
finna start.
5 minutes and count.
Somebody please, please, make sure I get home.
What's your point of view? You already did right, baby. Come on. Y'all know the words.
If I get drunk tonight, somebody please, please, make sure I get home. If I get too tipsy, somebody please, please, make sure I get home.
Going down to the club to have a real
I'm trying to be active like you nice when I'm in here. When as soon as I go down the stairs, I just go off. What?
and some time.
Oh. Sorry.
Cause I'm on the dance show.
But yeah.
Get up to the ladies' line. But if I start looking like I'm tore up, y'all, somebody take my keys and please make me drive.
If I get drunk tonight,
If I get
somebody please, make sure I get home.
if I get too tipsy,
If I get too tipsy, somebody please, please, make sure I get home.
now I need somebody to look out for me, just like I would look out for me. Cause it ain't no secret, y'all.
So you got
I'm
3 minutes.
when I'm going to the club to do, man. Martin, I hope that you're ready to serve it up all night long. And tell the DJ, put on their waiters, got my whiskey strong. Got my party, and I got my money.
Somebody please,
Oh, yo,
make sure I get home.
but I'm getting too tipsy.
If I get too tipsy,
Oh, yeah.
somebody please,
Please, please,
make sure I get home.
this song is dedicated to everybody that likes to get your friend. This song is dedicated to everybody out there that likes to party. Now I want to dedicate this song to everybody out there that likes to get their drink on. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with getting your party on, big baby. But while you doing that, remember that your family loves you. Most importantly, God loves you. Big Rob, I love you too. So big baby, don't drink and drive, because I want to see you at my next show. Come on, y'all.
If I get drunk tonight,
If I get down, y'all,
please, make sure I get home.
I'm in a 50-50.
If I get too tipsy,
Somebody, please, 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 make sure I get home. Look like I'm leaving. See, I sit down and I go to left. Yeah, well, baby, yeah. I want a letter to my sweet baby. And this is how it began. It's, I'm sorry, baby, if I've done you wrong. And I'm sorry, if I've done you wrong. Yeah, just see that comes a time in your life when you got to be strong and make a sacrifice. But you know I love you, yeah, until the end of time. So I'm sitting right here. Good evening, brothers and sisters. This is War Smith with the Black News Network, the real voice of Military City, USA. We're bringing you the news from a Black perspective. I want you to know that we don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. So let's get cracking. First of all, this is April 3rd, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. A beautiful Sunday afternoon. Good day for motorcycle riding and being out in the elements, out at the park, out at Sunken Gardens with the taste of New Orleans, downtown with the Fiesta, the Oyster Bay. All this stuff is going on in San Antonio. Also, at 2 o'clock today, they had the wreath laying ceremony down on the corner of Houston Street and New Braunfels. That was delayed from January due to COVID being a very hot topic during the time. We also canceled the MLK March, but we went ahead with the San Antonio Livestock Exposition. We also went ahead with everything having to do with Fiesta. And we also had the Cesar Chavez March. All these things happened after they canceled the Martin Luther King March. So what my recommendation is, let's do it on Juneteenth. It's still opportunity out there for it to get done. If you really want to get it done, let's do it on Juneteenth. You know, according to our president, President Putin cannot remain in power. Why? Because he's over there fighting Ukraine. And I think that's why Joe Biden is saying that. But that's not the most important issue going on in the USA today. One of the issues that I think is more important is the migrant issue with all these people gathering at the border waiting for May 29th when they lift this restriction on people coming into the United States. So the question is, why are they waiting until the 29th, May 29th, when they got people down there? They got thousands of people right there at the border right now looking for asylum, looking to come into the United States and discuss the reason they're at the border. And maybe some of those people will be qualified, but from what the report said, 50% of those coming through get sent back to their mother country. So that means the other half comes into the United States because they justified that
they had a particular problem living in the country that they came from. You know, Kamala Harris, our vice president, was in an interview the other day, and she said, let me read to you, quote, "I will not do anything that will benefit black people alone." Now, how can she play like she black and stand up there in the White House and think she representing black, saying we got our first black vice president, female, and she comes on national television and say some stuff like, "I'm not supporting or I'm not doing anything for black people alone." Now, that's a powerful statement. Basically, she's telling you to go to hell. She don't give a damn about y'all. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it for everybody. Again, here we go fighting this damn minority thing when black people don't fit into the minority thing. You don't believe me? Ask California. California just admitted that they want to pay reparations, but they only going to pay reparations to traditional black people. All these Cuban black, Mexican black, Jamaican black, Puerto Rican black, all these other black, African black, y'all ain't getting into this reparations game because y'all didn't descend from slavery. And that's the big issue. You descendants of slavery are eligible for reparations. Now let's see who's going to be next on that list. California seems to be the trendsetter these days and making things happen for the rest of the country. So I wonder if the rest of the country see fit to do what California is doing. I would think that somebody would, because that's what's necessary right now. Because you got millions of traditional black people here in America that have started 50 years behind the game and need something to balance the playing field. Because for a long time, even after the Emancipation Proclamation, they kept moving the goalposts. So soon as we became free, according to the Emancipation Proclamation, the first thing that happened was the Texas general that refused to let all the slaves go in Texas killed them until June 19th. That is why we celebrate Juneteenth in Texas. It's a Texas thing. But now Joe Biden gonna throw us a bone and make Juneteenth a national holiday. Does that mean every damn federal government agency gonna shut down on that day? That's what it sounds like, huh? We'll see. We'll see just how far that go. But that sounds like what it ought to be. You know, throwing us that bone does not answer the question for reparations, man. Come on, man. You got to do better than that. We had it harder than that. What about the other 300 or 400 years of slavery? You think Juneteenth's supposed to take up for that too? Juneteenth was 4 to 6 months, I think, after the Emancipation Proclamation, maybe 8 to 10, I don't know. But it was several months after. Something's got to happen with that. And I hope it happens in my lifetime. And if they just give everybody $500,000, since they can give Ukraine $200 billion, I'm sure they can give all traditional blacks in America $500,000 apiece. $500,000 apiece. That would give us an edge up. And we wouldn't just now be learning about old money and insurance We got old money built up in this country from hundreds of years ago, but we can't touch it because they're using it to supply the rest of the country and the rest of the world. But they fail to recognize that we as black people are the traditional sufferers of this world plight. Bigger than everything. There's nothing worse on this planet than what happened to black people during slavery. You know, we butter it up and we don't want to sound so gross and make people gross out by knowing just how bad it was when slavery existed. We don't want to make it look like that. It was just so terrible, but it was. One black man can bump into a white lady and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. Another 500,000 or 5,000 white men want to kill every black in sight just because a young man, a 18-year-old, bumped into a white woman in an elevator. This is the Tulsa, Oklahoma thing. Sad, but true. One day, they're going to give us our due and stop taking away from black people. Because that's what they do all the damn time. They take and take and take every damn thing you come up with. Case in point, you know, we had a black man, Dr. Charles Drew. He was a hematologist. He worked with blood. He knew blood. He was the one who invented or separated the other particles from blood and made plasma. That way you can give anybody any bag of blood, but it's really you're giving them plasma. You're not giving them blood. And plasma is the same in everybody. But the blood types may be different. O positive, O negative, A positive, A negative, all that other stuff. So Dr. Charles Drew, a black man, who invented or created this separation of blood and plasma, was almost to become a jockey. But somebody saw the skill set in this man and convinced him not to ride horses, but to go into the medical field and become the first black hematologist. Now, once this was all during all these wars, World War I, World War II. So now we got all these soldiers, these white soldiers going to Vietnam and going to the Korean War and fighting all over the world in Germany, Nuremberg, getting hurt. Now they need blood. They need plasma. And do you know that some idiot ass general had the audacity to say, we're going to segregate black plasma versus white plasma because we don't want to give any white people any black plasma. If a person's dying and need blood, who gives a shit where the blood come from? But they did. They had appointed Dr. Charles Drew as the person in charge of all of the blood actions for the federal government. And they told him this is what they wanted to do with his creation. I don't want to call it an invention because it's already there. It's a creation. So Dr. Charles Drew, the black man, like I told you, he said, not now, but hell to the no. I'm not going to teach you how to segregate white blood from black blood because your racist ass white folks don't want to get black plasma in their bodies. That's how deep racism was. So you know what? Nobody got plasma because Dr. Charles Drew refused to do it. And I don't blame him. Trying to make that man separate black blood from white blood.
Don't make no damn sense. I would like to ask you, I'll give you a challenge today. I would like you to go to Google and Google and see how many white men or white crowds or white mobs, killing black men. Go into Google and just ask the question. I want to see white men killing black men. Something simple. Just say something simple like that. And watch how the thousands and thousands of reports come up with situations such as that. And at the same time, I want you to do this too. Go into Google and ask Google to tell you how many black men that have killed white men on camera. Look at the disparity there. Thousands versus hundreds. Thousands versus hundreds. And I doubt if it's hundreds. You might be lucky to find 10. Did you know the Black News Channel was getting ready to shut down? J.C. Watts had taken money to build this channel. And no, the money dried up, so 230 people lost their jobs. That's a sad thing. I want to go back to slavery for a little bit. You know, when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law, the farmers, the rich plantation owners, had to find a way to keep the black people on the plantation. So they came up with sharecropping. Sharecropping, basically, we're going to give you the seed, black man, and now you're going to get 50% of what that crop yields. That you planted, you harvest, you grew, you picked, you did whatever. You get 50% of it, whatever it made at the market at that day and time. In other words, you had to trust, you had to trust the man who's been beating you for the last several hundred years to give you your 50%. So you screwed because you can't trust him. The same man that killed all your people, you gonna trust him now because you free? That's the worst thing to do. Now he gonna screw you legally. Well, he screwed you legally as a slave, and now as a free man, he gonna screw you legally. So he can charge you living on the plantation still because you working the land, and he done fool you like he giving you shit. He ain't giving you nothing. Now you living in his quarters. So back then when you was a slave, you didn't have to pay rent to live in his quarters. But now that you're free, you're going to have to pay rent to live in his quarters. And in order to get the money for the rent, you're going to have to work the field. You can't go into town because you don't have time to go into town. You spend it from sun up to sundown working in that damn field to get your crop out so you can get some money. So he knows he got to, let's use $100, for example. He knows he got to give you $100 at the end of the crop season. So what is he going to do to keep from giving you that $100? He going to charge you $45 for the last 4 months, $10 a month rent, which is extremely high during that time. Living in a damn shotgun house. And now you don't have time to go to town to buy you some food for your kids and your family to eat. So you got to go to his store. The man that you're sharecropping with, you got to go to his store. You go in his store buying, put it on the books, because you ain't made no damn money. So now you done paid him $45 for several months' rent, and now you owe him another $25 for food. So that's $70. So you done worked 4 months, 7 days a week. You done brought that crop from seedlings all the way to production, and you made $30 in 4 months. $30 in 4 months. You can't survive on that. Nobody can. So I don't know why they thought. They knew what they were doing. They knew they were getting over on you still, on our ancestors still, because that's what the plan was, to keep you on the damn plantation so you can keep working that crop and at the same time make you think that you're free and that you're working for yourself. So sharecropping really screwed our people just as worse as slavery did. And then when black people start getting hip to that damn sharecropping shit and start leaving the plantation, they started to implement the Jim Crow laws, vagrancy. When you walking down the street at 6 o'clock at night, you ain't got no job, you going to jail. And now you're gonna get farmed back out to the plantation to do the work. I'm sure everybody in America, in the world, saw the slap that was heard around the world when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I got to give Chris Rock credit for being the bigger man, because most of us would have lit into Will Smith's ass. You don't go slap no man. But you know, there's so many parables out there and cartoons out there about how dumb that looked when Will Smith did that. At first, he thought it was funny. But then you hear everybody saying, why don't Will Smith go slap that August boy who was up in his house? As far as I'm going to go with that. But alopecia is a disease, and some people rock it. They rock it with no hair. You don't have to have hair. Speaking of hair, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, black women had to press and curl their hair in order to gain employment, in order to function in white America, because you couldn't go wear the afro and work in Sears and Roebuck. You couldn't wear your afro and working in Price, Waterhouse, and Cooper. So you had to press your hair in order to get into these positions. We know this. Everybody know it. Why you pressed your hair. But now, from the 90s to present, black women are starting to go back to their roots. They're stopping all this torture to their hair. Even black men went through it at one time. Ask Malcolm X went through putting that damn lie in his head. It was bad, but they did it so they can gain employment, so they can get ahead and get money for their families. That's what they did. Women are wearing their hair natural, and that's a beautiful thing. There's a new virus out there. You know, we still talk about the coronavirus. So it's been COVID-19, the Delta variant, the Omicron variant, and now the BA2 variant. Number 4, and you're on number 4 booster shot, 2 booster shots and 2 regular shots, and then you're going to have more booster shots. They want this coronavirus vaccine to be just like any other vaccine you take, like the flu vaccine. So every year, you're going to be taking the coronavirus vaccine. And you're going to have to show a card to get on a cruise. You're going to have to show a card to do a lot of things. And sooner or later, you're going to have to show a card
to live on a street, to buy a house, to pay your rent. You're going to have to do all of that. Speaking of rent, you know that the moratorium for rent has been lifted. So people are now starting to get letters of eviction. This is two things that you need to know about evictions. Please pass this on. When the landlord comes to you with a letter of eviction notice, you got 30 days. That's a bunch of bullshit. He cannot evict you without a court order. I'm going to say this again. That letter that the landlord brings to you saying you got 30 days to get out of his property is bullshit. He cannot evict you without a court order. And in order to get a court order, you got to be summoned to court. Now, once you go to court and you ain't got substantial reason for not paying the rent, then you got to go because the judge is going to lay down the law saying you got to be out of this property. Now you can get evicted, but you cannot get evicted based on a letter that your landlord sent to you or stapled onto your door. So don't be fooled and hoodwink, people. You stay in that house as long as you can. And, you know, I ain't just trying to go against landlords. I'm trying to reduce the homeless population because there's too many kids, mothers out there on the street right now. Fathers been on the street, so I ain't worried about that. But when you got the mothers and the children out there on the street, that's a problem. How are you going to stop that? You got to know the law. Anything you're being accused of, anything that people trying to make you do, know the law behind it. Know the law behind it. When you get pulled over, know the law behind a traffic stop based on the state that you're in. But every state has to tell you this if you ask for it. The Miranda warning. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you are being questioned. So, in other words, that officer pull you over and say, do you know why I pull you over? That's a question. That is a question. And the Miranda warning says you have the right to have your lawyer present while you're being questioned. Think about that. Now, don't be a fool and get into a confrontation with the police because they're going to beat your ass. It's that simple. And you'll be lucky if they don't kill you. And then most of the time, they're going to get away with it. 1 out of 100 might get prosecuted. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. So when that officer walks up to you and says, do you know why I pulled you over? Officer, please read me the Miranda warning because I don't want to disclose or self-incriminate. He has an obligation to do that. That's very important. So the little things that I'm trying to pass on are things that will become very, very important when you get in that situation. You may not be in that situation now. You may not be in that situation a year from now. But I guarantee you, somebody you know gonna be in that situation, and you had an opportunity to tell them about this, and you didn't. Pass this information on, please. Pass it on. Let people know that they have rights as American citizens. Even black people, you got rights. And you're not a minority. You're a separate entity. And if anybody ever call you a minority, make sure they know the difference. If you got clumped into the minority realm with 90,000 other Hispanics in this city as our minorities, then you disappear. You become invisible because you're part of the bigger problem or the bigger minority. Stay separate. Keep yourself separate as black folks. Why do black men, watch Western movies? I bet you everybody that I know a man that watch Western movies. For one, it's white on white crime because you very rarely see black people in these old Western movies. Very rarely. They fighting each other, they gunfighting each other, they shooting each other, killing each other. And you wondering why the hell they want to do this. They shoot each other on a whim, on a thumb snap. They have a cutthroat mentality. If you don't do it the way I told you to do it, I'm killing your ass. That's just that simple. They're always drunk drifters, saddle tramps, and they got the whole slew of damn names that they use. I just know those two. A saddle tramp, which I have no idea what that is, and a drunk drifter. I know what that is. And the worst part about watching these damn Western movies is how white men cowered around a gunfighter like punk ass men. Like a whole town of damn weak ass men. They said, get over in that corner. They all run over in that corner. Get inside. They all get inside. The sheriff tell them to do something, they all run around and do it. But then you got that one or two bad mans out there that don't give a shit who said it. They ain't doing a damn thing. That's how it works. Or that's how it worked back in the Western days. You know, the VA owns prime real estate all over this country. And you'd be surprised what they do with this prime real estate. They damn sure ain't putting veterans' homes or veterans' encampment up. That's quite a few homeless veterans out there, thousands of them all across the United States. And they are not getting the support they need to get from the VA. The VA take that prime real estate and rent it to cities, schools, and anybody else who need it, rather than putting up establishments for veterans that are homeless. So don't ever think that the VA, the Veterans Affairs, is about veterans, because it's not. It's about these white folks at the top of the chain lining their damn pockets, acting like they give a shit about veterans, and they don't. All these agencies are the ones who care. DAV, other ones, I just know the DAV for the most part. Those are the ones who care. The VFW, they care. The American Legion, they care. And don't forget about Fred Brock, 828 over on the east side. That's our American Legion. And if you're a veteran, go ahead. If you're a black veteran, go on over there and join that Legion. It's only $30-some a month. Who did the 1964 Civil Rights Act benefit? And why was it passed with flying colors? It was passed with flying colors because it didn't do shit for black people. But they made it out to look like they were giving black people an apple pie and wasn't giving them shit. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 did benefit somebody. Airline stewardess, for one, because back before the Civil Rights Act, passengers were slapping stewardess on the ass and laughing about it. Nobody gave a shit. You know, they was grasping and doing all kind of stuff to the stewardess, and they were making those ladies work. And if you were a little overweight or big bone, you could not be a stewardess. They discriminated against women. Yes, they did. You had to be a certain figure to get up in there and be a stewardess. And then you got up in there and they abused the hell out of you when you were there. So them ladies that were stewardess before 1964 caught hell. They caught hell. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 benefited them. They also, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 benefited white women, period. You remember all the uproar. See, black people started this fight for the Civil Rights Act. But then, as usual, America knows how to put black back on the back and make it a bigger thing. And so black people don't get shit out of it. So they added white women the right to vote and the right to hold corporate jobs. Because back then, most white women couldn't leave the house. They was in there raising kids and had a maid in there doing the cleaning. And the maid was raising the kids anyway. The white woman just stayed her ass at home and ain't did shit but gossip with her neighbors. And fire, and he give them a little authority. The white man would give the white woman a little authority where she can hire and fire the maid. She can go spend the money at the grocery store. She can iron the clothes. She can wash the clothes. She can do all these things that the man didn't want to do. All he do, make it, go to work, go home, eat dinner, go to bed, and repeat it the next day. So white men had it made until the Civil Rights Act of 1964, when white women got the right to vote. You know, black women got the right too, but white women are the ones who most benefited from it because they were still withholding the correct things from black women and black men and the blacks who started the march for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I found out that the military will be receiving the largest raise that they have ever received in the history of the military. And that's a 5.6 or 4.6% raise of whatever your salary is. That's 4.6, being at the largest what? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Being it's the largest raise that the military ever received, 4.6. Now, the catch-22 is, while Congress approved that raise for the military, they approved a 20% raise for Congress. Now, when I say Congress now, I mean the House of Representatives and the Senate, which were the ones who authorized this 4.6% raise for the military. But hidden in the small print was that 20% raise for them sorry mofos up there in Washington, D.C. So the money that they sent over there to Ukraine, the $200 billion, I'm absolutely sure there was some more hidden shit in that budget sent out. And then you can bring over 100,000 Ukrainians to America, but you got 100,000 people sitting at the border. Again, that tells you that as long as you're white, you're right. If you're brown, you stand down. If you're black, you get back. Nothing flows in the United States unless you're white. And it flows when you're white. But if you're not white, you got to fight for every damn step you take. And the sooner you realize that, the better off you'll be. They're not going to give you shit. You're going to have to earn it and fight for it and be twice as good as anybody you fighting against or anybody competing with you. Because they got so many ways to discriminate against you or to put you out of commission or to keep you out of corporate America. They don't allow you to get into these fields because they know you're going to be twice as good at doing it as they are. So what do? They put every obstacle they can on you to keep you from excelling. And as long as they got the brake on, it's like driving a car. The car, once they put the brake on, it's hard to move forward. Take your foot off the brake and you take off. They are the brake for us. They stay on the brake. They don't allow us to get nowhere without that brake. Now, of course, they're going to let one or two people squeak through the cracks because they got to make it appear that they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're going to have like a J.C. Watts. They got a good old boy up there that they can slap on the back. Do this back slapping bullshit and make him look good. But 99 other ones ain't got shit. Can't do shit. They let one black person up to the top or open a business and be extremely successful and make a lot of damn money, but 99 other ones catching hell. And that one that they let up in that damn the White House or up in the hierarchy, he don't realize that he a freaking token. A token. Now, don't think you're not a token because you're a token until you do something to bring up somebody else that's black. Otherwise, you're a goddamn token. You're a token. Do something for your people and stop thinking you're privileged because you're up there doing these things with the white man. That's the problem with y'all uppity Negroes. You know that ain't what I wanted to say. That's the problem. You get up there and you forget that you got black people that are just as smart as you, just as gifted as you, that got kicked to the damn curb. You got people that was trying out for the NBA and didn't make it because there was too many damn blacks on the teams. You got black people that can coach a team better than any one of these white folks. But you think they got selected? The NFL realized that. That's the biggest plantation it is. Look at what they did to Kaepernick. I ain't never gonna forget that one. Clarence Thomas is a Supreme Court justice, and his wife Jenny Thomas is a heifer. She's white, and she's a Trump supporter, and she's told Clarence and other members in Congress, other white members, to do everything in their power to get Joe Biden out of that office, to overturn the election. This is the Supreme Court justice wife telling other people to do this. And then, do you know Clarence Thomas was the only odd out vote when they voted to keep this committee going? He was the one who said, hell no, shut it down. But everybody else said, keep it going. Don't you think that's a conflict of interest? Does it look suspicious? Don't that look suspicious? It looks suspicious. Why he ain't recusing himself? He just go along to get along, but he won't recuse himself because of his wife. And she knows she wrong, being the wife of a Supreme Court justice. They shouldn't have put his ass up there to start with. Anita Hill was 100% correct in filing charges against his ass, and he should have been convicted behind that, just like that other mofo up there. What's his name? Kavanaugh? I don't know his name, but whoever it is, he needs to go to jail too. All these rapers and molesters up there in the Supreme Court. That's a sad thing. I always wondered, and maybe you can help me with this, why is it that most of the Egyptian statues you see, they broke the nose off? Why did they break the nose off of these statues? Because they didn't want you to know that they were black? Because we got this distinctive nose, you know. Our nose ain't like that. Our nose is like that. Why do you think they didn't put why do you think they broke off all these noses? Because they didn't want you to know that this is what you were about back in the ancient times. They didn't want you to know that this is what it was. Florida passed a law where teachers cannot discuss sexual orientation from kindergarten to third grade. And woo, what did they do that for? The LGBTQ community came out in force, raising hell against that law. And hopefully they'll get it overturned. You know, that's their decision, but that's what's happening in America today. Now, you talking about discussing sexuality to a third grader or a second grader, and they're your kids, that's a problem if you don't want them to hear it. Now, let's say you went to school and your teacher had a picture of his wife and her husband in a picture sitting on the desk in the classroom. But what if there were two women on that picture sitting in the classroom, or two men on that picture sitting in the classroom? What would you do? I mean, if you say that they can put the man and the woman up there as a couple, but they can't put the man and the man, don't you see the double-edged sword there? There's so many things that you have to be careful about when you're trying to say what people can't do and can do. Americans are Americans and Black Americans are traditional. We got to remember that. The other thing about this gender thing, I find it hard to understand how a man who changed himself to a woman now wants to go to represent the United States in the Olympics. They're going to win. You know they're going to win because you still got the characteristics of a man, the strength of a man. You can do things like a man, and you can outperform any woman. Now it's the truth. Now you want to admit it. But when women were coming into the military 30, 40 years ago, the fight was that women are equal to men, that women can do whatever men do. Let the women join combat arms, go to the field, carry a M50 machine gun through the woods, go to Ranger training, be in the special forces. They made it clear that women could join anything a man could join in the military, maybe at increments, but before I retired, everybody could do anything that they wanted to. The first fighter pilot just flew a sortie in 1990 in Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Iran, that war. But look how many wars before that women couldn't fly jet fighters. Discriminatory behaviors of the United States. So the United States is going to always have the hierarchy, their inside group and the outside group and the minority group and the people that they want to let in, like them Ukrainians. And then what really pissed me off, a freaking HBCU going to give 5,000 Ukrainians free tuition for 4 years to go to school. Maybe ain't none going to go there, but the fact of the matter is this damn HBCU had the audacity to stick their neck out and say some bullshit like that. You know, Black people, out here saying send money to Ukraine, you need to be feeding your own damn neighborhoods. Look how many people are homeless or how many black people don't have a place to stay right here in the United States. Like Oprah Winfrey, big ass, took a damn school and put it in Africa rather than doing shit here in America. She's been on my shit list ever since. You know, the school was a good thing for Africa, but the fact of the matter is you're a billionaire from Mississippi and you ain't got sense enough to do something for your state. The poorest damn state in the Constitution. The NFL finally admitted that they need to put some black coaches up there in the midst of a lawsuit, of course. They're getting sued because I forget the coach name, but the New England coach texted and said, man, congratulations on the job. And so the New England coach thought he was texting a white dude that by this name, but he was texting the black dude by this name. And so that told the black dude that they had already made the decision when they were telling the black dude to come on up here for an interview for this position. So he's suing right now, the NFL, and he just got another black coach on the bandwagon with him, and they need to get a couple of more so it can become a class action lawsuit against the NFL. They paid the hell out of Kaepernick, and now they're talking about letting him back in the NFL. Let him play. The boy can play some damn ball. He grew up in a racist society too. Mama, daddy white, mama black. Or the other way around, I don't know. Something just came out about the Republican Party being involved in a sex scandal and a drug scandal. So it ought to be getting some more momentum on the news in the next few days. And the more I know, the more I'll report. I'm noticing all these info commercials. They're trying to make sure you understand who you are, black man, that you don't exist in America. They really want you to feel like you don't exist. You have no significance in America. You're hearing reports about Hunter Biden and his dealings with China and Russia. He's the same dude who married or started to date his brother's wife. And his brother died from cancer, as you know. Apparently that didn't work out. There's a chain of restaurants called Chef Big Shake, black people. He has a chain of restaurants, and his favorite thing is a shrimp burger. He's a good guy. I like that dude, where he presented himself. And if you like Skippy peanut butter, I suggest you throw it out or take it back to the store for a refund, because they said Skippy peanut butter has metal shavings in it. There's a black doctors consortium who focus 100% on black. Now, if you got all these black doctors not afraid to say that they black doctors focused on black healthcare from the cradle to the grave, why is it a problem for people like me to say I'm on the Black News Network? Or why is it a problem to say we're black people when you got a group of doctors owning prime real estate, a medical hospital where it's only for black people? Ain't that something? That's a beautiful thing. It's called the Black Doctors Consortium, and it's focused on black healthcare only. You know, in our schools, we don't know really what they're teaching our kids. And we don't know because we're too damn busy to go by the school and sit in the classroom and try and figure out what they're teaching our kids. Every classroom should have a lesson plan to show you what they want to teach those kids. I advise all parents to read the lesson plan, to go to the PTA meetings, go to the Meet the Teacher Day, figure out what the hell is going on in school. Because we don't know. And I think it's very, very important that Black people put themselves back into the school, because during segregation, and they took us out of school. They started taking our children out of our communities and sending them over across town to another school. That was a plot to destroy Black families. You know, they'll send 20 Black families, split them up all over the city, and then they'll bring in one white family, the children of one white family. You didn't see the white people getting moved around like you saw the Black people. Buses going in all directions. That was the worst damn thing that could have happened. And people know it's the worst thing that could have happened, and they won't even shut that shit down. They should make people go to school within their neighborhoods, within their communities. You shouldn't have to go to school across town. And you think that'll be a problem, right? It's not a problem if you allocate the funds accordingly. You know, the school on the east side is not making as much as the school down in Cibolo. So why not compensate the school down on the east side so they can improve, so you can recruit better teachers? Give them the money. You're giving it to them anyway. You're giving it out like it's candy, buying dumb shit all along. I ain't gonna even talk about what Diop did. New Mexico just legalized weed on the 1st of April. So you're gonna have a lot of Texas people shooting across the border to grab them some pot. But I'm telling you, that's gonna get your ass locked the hell up. But there is a law in the federal courts right now being considered to legalize marijuana from a federal level. Now, if they legalize marijuana from a federal level, that's going to bring in billions and billions and billions of dollars that ain't being accounted for right now, because everything is black market. Or should I say white market? That reminds me of the black ball black ball reject, white ball elect. Most fraternities know about that. I'm advising all of you black people out there that use the term black ball reject and white ball elect, check yourself, because all you're doing is talking about black people. Why can't it be white ball reject and black ball elect? If it was up to me, that's what it would be. All you people in charge of these organizations that ain't doing shit, get off your ass and make some damn decisions. All the way up to the top. You've been sitting on these fucking positions since Moby Dick was a minnow, and you ain't doing nothing but getting money, sucking up that money from all these organizations, and you ain't doing shit for them. You're a sorry ass figurehead. That's what you are. And I'm talking about you because you know who you are. You know you ain't done shit for the people, but yet you want the damn position. Why? I don't understand it. That's why I had to walk away from something I enjoy doing. The Prince Hall Masons. Because they're a bunch of bullshitting ass people running the organization. Now, I've met some great Masons. Great Masons. But yet they have to fall under these effed up regimes that ain't doing shit for the people, ain't doing shit for the craft, stealing money all the way up to the top. Back in the day, one of the dudes picking up money from the apartment complex that they own went and bought himself a brand new damn Caprice. Talking about he needed a car to go get the money, the rent money. That's some bullshit there. I can go deep into that stuff. I ain't gonna do it though. You know, Portland, Oregon has become little Iraq. They had 24 shootings in 1 week up there in Portland. Things are getting bad. People are saying, F it. They're starting to shoot police. They're starting to shoot the neighbor. They're starting to shoot up the job. They're still shooting up the schools. And now it ain't all white. Some black people are doing it because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired of what's happening in this country. You can only neglect a problem for so long. Sooner or later, you're going to have to deal with it, America. You're going to have to deal with what you've done to black people. And the longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. You can give these police forces every damn thing they ask for. They can roll out in tanks, M50 machine guns, grenades, rocket launchers, and every damn thing else. It don't make a damn difference because it's just like what's happening in Ukraine right now. Russia rolled in with all this shit, and the Ukrainians went underground and started effing them damn Russians up because they don't have to follow a stupid-ass regiment that the Russians have to follow. In America, the same way. The police have a particular regiment that they have to follow, except when it comes to blacks. But they cannot fight guerrilla warfare. They can't. Unconventional warfare is something they can't deal with. They can deal with 1,000 people walking down the street drinking water and holding signs. No, they can break that shit up easy. But let them break up all those people that they can't see that are tagging their asses. Enough about the police. Sarah Palin is running for Congress again. You know Sarah Palin, right? And Amazon has finally elected a union for all these employees. Here's something that you may not know. The Oscars where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, that show, is named after a black man. His name was Oscar Micheaux, Micheaux, if you want to look it up. Micheaux. Oscar. His last name was Oscar. So they named the show after him. And the reason, how did he get to that level? He was a producer. He had money in Hollywood. He wanted to produce a movie. And the movie was about black people. And when he introduced it to Time Warner or whomever, he introduced it to Universal Studios in Hollywood, they said, we love the concept and the movie and everything else, but we really don't want you to be in the movie. We don't want you in it. And he said, well, you won't get my damn movie if I can't be in it. So he went and produced the movie himself, and he sold out every time he put it in the studio. It was an 8,000 seat studio. He aired it the first time in, and every seat was filled. So from that day on, they gave that man the respect they were supposed to give him about what he wanted to do with movies. So much so, they named the Oscars after the black man. And now you know the rest of the story. So don't forget, the Oscars is named after a black man. Ukraine is now attacking Russia, which is a beautiful thing. If you haven't noticed this, I'm going to tell you something. Every time we get a Republican president, you ever notice how the oil fields are booming, the gas prices are low, all this stuff it seems like it's working, all the gas stuff, the oil, and the Keystone pipeline, everything is working. all of a sudden we get a Democratic president, the oil fields shut the hell down. You know it because half the people we know probably worked in the oil fields and now they ain't got no job because we got a Democratic president. And this is what's happening. These damn tycoons, these rich ass oil people, they're firing people down there in the valley that were down there drilling oil. Black people were making good damn money. And all of a sudden they shut that shit down because of the presidency. Watch. If we get another Republican president, they're going to open it back up. You're going to see everybody going back to the oil fields. And see, they try to make you believe that it's all about the Keystone Pipeline. That pipeline ain't never been in existence. That pipeline is designed to bring crude, this oil, sand-based oil, all the way from Minnesota down to the coast for refinement. The oil is thick like molasses. It ain't like regular oil. It's a different kind of oil. And they don't have the refineries up there. So they sending it down here, and they can't do it by pipeline. They've been doing it by train and trucks. And they say, well, it's more risk to do it over the roads and down the tracks. We could do it cheaper if we put a pipeline. Don't believe the hype. These white folks shutting down the oil fields because we got a Democratic president. And that's the only damn reason there's no work in the oil fields right now. And they don't give a shit one way or another. Run the damn gas prices up. They ain't got to drive nowhere. It only hurts the consumers, the people who got to go back and forth to work, the people who got to run back and forth to Walmart or anywhere else. There's a act right now called the Moores Act. It is to expunge every person accused or convicted of a crime because of marijuana. Because of marijuana, that it's coming out. It ain't. I don't know if it's approved yet, but it's called the Moores Act. Look it up. Walmart parking lot is a baseline place for kidnappers, women. When you walk out of that store, you better have your keys in your hand and you better be ready to punch somebody out because women are being abducted at an alarming rate from the Walmart parking lots. And especially these high-rise parking garages. Be careful because they're out there. You ever vouch for someone and said that this is a good mix, or you're a good fit for this and a good fit for that, and then you vouch for that person and then they go in there and they make you look like an asshole? So you better be careful when you're out there putting your name on it, telling other people, yeah, man, that's a good dude there, man. Use him. Bring him out there. Let him do something. I had the mobile mechanic. I'm going to just tell you how it goes. Brian, the mobile mechanic on the east side, I had him put an alternator on one of my cars. You know that alternator was put on upside down and not even bolted properly? The damn thing ended up tearing up the alternator, breaking the damn serpentine belt, and damn near tearing up the engine in the car. But this mobile mechanic came to me through a recommendation. I'd be damned if I use his ass again. I'll see him in court because he fucked up my car, and I'm pissed off about it. Excuse my language. There's no solution to the homeless epidemic. People are always talking about we're going to eradicate homelessness. That's a damn lie. That's a goddamn lie. It ain't going to happen. People choose Some people choose to be homeless, and ain't nothing you can do to get them out of the streets because that's what they want to be. But why is there no 100-acre place with all these? All you see the sheds that you see at Home Depot and Lowe's, them big ass sheds. You know, you can put 50 of those on 20 acres, or you probably get way more than that. I'm just using numbers. And you set them up with toilets and kitchens. And then the city run it, and you charge $20 a month for rent. And you give them to the homeless people. They don't own the place, they just live there. And you hire a crew to run that facility. Get the homeless off the street, people. The city can do it, but the thing is, don't nobody want to get it done. If they wanted to eradicate homelessness, they could. They can get everybody off the street that want to come off the street and put them in a hotel. There's so many abandoned hotels around here. Why not use them? Unless you want to be outside, put those sheds out on a plantation or on a field. Don't call it a plantation. Lindsey Graham is allegedly gay, and he's the first one to come out right and say he's against Miss Jackson, Ketanji Jackson, as a Supreme Court judge nominee. And I don't know if you saw Wesley Snipes at the Oscars. He looked like shit, man. Looked like he done lost all his weight. His face was skinny. And then he had on a 9-piece burgundy outfit with some big-ass black clogs on. Crazy. This is the Black News Network. You can see us at the blacknewsnetwork.space. You find out what's the next show coming up, which will be Wednesday at 7 o'clock. If you don't know by now, you should go to our YouTube page and like us or subscribe. Go to our Facebook page and like us. Put some comments in there too. And for those of you who may not know, you can always buy my book, Leave the Dirt in the Cotton Field. I don't know if you can see it because of the light, but there it is. Leave the Dirt in the Cotton Field. I would love for you to buy a copy. It's got some good, interesting stuff about my career in there. But I want to say thank you, brothers and sisters, for watching and listening to the Black News Network. We are the Black News Network, broadcasting the War Report. This is the real voice of Military City, USA. We bring you the news from a Black perspective. Yes, we do. I do not own the rights to the music, but I do own the rights to what I say. Don't forget, subscribe at YouTube. Check out my webpage, blacknewsnetwork.space. Like us on Facebook, Black News Network. When you go to YouTube, put in THE Black News Network to bring it up. I want to thank you all for joining me today. I will see you all again on Wednesday. Thank you. Have a good day.
So as soon as I get there, here's what I want you to do. Whoa. take me on and rock me, baby. That's what I want you to do, girl. Oh, we gonna make love like we never made love before. Yeah, you see, I'm gonna do all the things, girl, I've never done before. Yeah, I'm gonna kiss you right in the mouth. And one more time, come on. I'm gonna kiss you every day. Oh, let me kiss you right there. Please, baby, say I can't come. Oh, as soon as I get there, honey, I'm gonna make love to you, baby. Oh, yeah. That's what I wanna do, baby. Everybody, get up on the floor, baby. Y'all can get up now. Everybody can get up on the floor. We get ready to throw it all the way back. Party like we used to. One of those kind of songs that'll make you feel good inside. Let me tell you what was on my mind. Right down the road one night, I had so many problems on my mind.
Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.